Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Suddhaspadiga Sankasham Shuddha Vidya Pradayakam Shuddham Purnam Chidanandam Sadashivam Shraye Shankarupena Machittam Pankikritam Abhodhyaya Kim Kariyasya Samaya Shankaracharya Mashraye Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Bharathi Karuna Patram Bharathi Padabhushanam Bharathi Padamarudam Bharathi Tirthamashraye Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvabodha Vidushekara Bharatim Mala Sudha Kumbha Vibhoda Mudra Vidya Virajat Karavarijatam Apara Karunya Sudhamburashim Sri Sharadambam Pranatosmi Nityam. Om. Today, in the summary portion, we will take up Jnana Yoga and Bhakti, the last one of the 8 topics which we have already seen. Jnana Yoga is nothing but a course of discipline which is sadhana meant for gaining self-knowledge, Atma Jnanam, knowledge regarding oneself. But we feel we know something about ourselves now. We already have some knowledge about ourselves. But whatever we know till now about ourselves is empirical. That is superficial knowledge. That is, immediately I will say my name, date of birth, I am born to so and so parents, my sisters, brothers, my spouse, children, my height, weight, everything with respect to my body, mind and sense complex only. This is the knowledge that I have till today. But in Jnana Yoga, we learn about our essential real nature, that is para prakriti, higher nature of self, higher nature of I. In our scriptures, the real nature of I is called Atma. We may use many words, but Atma is the word which we can use. Therefore, it is Atma Jnanam, Atma Jnana Yoga. This self-knowledge gives Moksha Purushartham, the final, primary, essential goal of human beings. Freedom from bondage, freedom from dependence. Bondage is of 2 types. There is presence of an object, presence of people may cause bharam. Bharam is weight. Stress and strain of handling the person or the object, particularly caused by the relationship, family relationship, human relationship. The presence will cause bondage. Similarly, other type of bondage is absence of a person or an object creates another type of problem. Feeling of loneliness, feeling of emptiness grips me. Either way, you have a problem. You don't know whether you want people or objects or whether you don't want them. So there is confusion. You are in a soup. Once you know what moksham is, learned through Jnana Yoga, you will learn how the presence or absence of any object, of any person will not cause a strain or stress in you. This is freedom from bondage. This is the result of self-knowledge. This inner freedom expresses in the form of 3 very important virtues. The first virtue being to accept what cannot be changed. It is a choiceless situation. We have to accept, but this acceptance is not with a grumbling mind, but as a Ishvara Prasada, with calm mind, Samatva Buddhi, to accept what cannot be changed. Then, granting me the courage to change things that can be changed. There are only 2 things. One is whether I can change or whether I cannot change. If we cannot change things despite our efforts, so we have to accept it. It is as Ishvara Prasada, not with any sense of grudge or grumbling or anything like that. The other thing is, we should know what are the things that can be changed, and we have to pray Ishvara to give courage to change things that can be changed. And also you should know you should have the discrimination that to understand what can be changed, what cannot be changed. Especially with respect to close family members. These are the three virtues we will get by this knowledge also. How to get the self-knowledge? Because self-knowledge being very important, we all want to know how to get the self-knowledge. Any knowledge can be attained by only one method, by using appropriate, relevant means of knowledge, pramanam. So without using a relevant, appropriate pramanam or means of knowledge, one cannot get the knowledge. If you have to get the knowledge of color of an object, you have to use your eyes. There is no choice. You cannot use your ears or tongue or any other means of knowledge, instrument of knowledge, to know the color of an object. Eyes are the only praman. Eyes are the only instrument of knowledge to know the color. Similarly, the other instruments also. So we have to use the appropriate pramanam, appropriate means of knowledge, instrument of knowledge. Human beings are bestowed with two types of instruments: direct means, indirect means. Direct means or primary means of knowledge is perception. In Sanskritam it is called pratyaksha jnanam, pratyaksham, by making use of our sense organs, eyes, ears, tongue, skin and nose. By using these 5 indriyangal, jnanendriyas, so you can get the knowledge. This is pratyaksha jnanam. And the other one is indirect or secondary knowledge, secondary means of knowledge. That is called inference, anumanam. These are the two things which are available for human beings. However, these direct means of knowledge and indirect instruments available to human beings are all extroverted, capable of studying the objective external universe. Unfortunately, they are not capable of generating the knowledge or studying the subject, that is the one which is behind all these instruments. They are not capable of studying. The law is subject is never subject to objectification. So the Paurusheya Pramanam, that is the Pramanam or the means or instruments of knowledge that are available to human beings, are all capable of studying only the objects, external objects, external world. They are not capable of studying intrinsic value of oneself. Therefore, I have to accept the necessity of studying or using our scriptural literature for understanding my real self. Shabda Pramanam, Shastra Pramanam, which is otherwise called Apaurusheya Pramanam, which we saw a long time back, because it is given by Ishvara to get self-knowledge. It is not only Sabda Pramanam's availability, but also I should know how to read, how to understand this Shastram, how to use it. So these two are very important. So we have to approach a person who has the necessary skill, who has the necessary knowledge to transfer the knowledge which he already has to me. This Jnana Yoga consists of threefold exercise: Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. What is Shravanam? Is exposing oneself to the scriptural teaching handled by a competent Acharya or a Guru. This Guru must be a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru. That is, he should have learnt this self-knowledge, scriptural literature through his guru, who would have got the knowledge through his guru. So, Guru Parampara. It is not that one can study himself and becomes a jnani. It is 99.99% impossible. Therefore, we have to approach a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru and then get the knowledge. This consistent and systematic study of Vedanta Shastram, that is Vedantic scriptures, for a length of time under the guidance of a competent Guru, competent Acharya, is called Shravanam. The Acharya has self-knowledge and the necessary communication skills to transfer the self-knowledge to the spiritual seekers. He should have both. It is not sufficient if he has only self-knowledge and he is not able to communicate with the students. That is also, it will not work. And also, he may have very good communication skills, but if he doesn't have the self-knowledge, then what is there for him to teach? At least in Vedanta Shastra, he has nothing to teach. We don't have anything to learn from such people. Therefore, a competent Guru should satisfy these two basic conditions. Then comes Mananam. After studying comprehensively for a length of time, one can bring out all his or all her doubts. Generally, the beauty of, because during the studying process under the Guru, it will, for a length of time we have to study and it has to be consistent. So we may have some doubts. So at this time you have to note down all these doubts. So at the end of the class, you note down what are the doubts, is it clarified? If not, you attend the next class. You keep on attending the classes, you complete this Shravanam, you complete for a length of time this learning. After learning for a length of time under this Guru, then still if you have some queries, you can always approach the Guru and ask him and tell him about your questions, about your doubts, and he will be glad to help you to solve your problems. The beauty of the teaching is, the methodology of teaching is, you will not be left with any doubts or questions at the end of the comprehensive study. If at all you have, you can approach the Guru and get it sorted out. So, Shravanam removes self-ignorance and Mananam process removes any doubt, any obstacle, because if you have a doubt, then you cannot get the complete knowledge. Unless you get all your doubts which appear at your intellectual level, all of them have to be sorted out, have to be cleared, because the doubts are stumbling blocks, obstacles to get self-knowledge. Then the final one is Nididhyasanam. This is a process of internalization or assimilation of self-knowledge and removal of my habitual thoughts, habitual behavior. This is unlearn what I have learned all these years, all these janmas. We have to unlearn and learn the real self, real I. Only when our habitual behavior goes away, one will get the full benefit of self-knowledge. You may recall the story of barbers enacting the play of Ramayana. The person who acted as King Dasharatha, he was dressed up from outside point of view, he was Dasharatha, all right, but he is a barber by his habitual thought. That came out in the dialogue he told about when he received Vishwamitra, right? So, all along we have been identifying ourselves as body, mind, sense complex. Petty, bitter, ignorant, samsari. I think I am limited. I don't have satisfaction. I always want more. I always want to look somebody who is different. I always want to change my appearance. I want to get something because I feel I am not complete. This is the personality all along I have this is the self-image I have with me, I have got with me for so many years. This has influenced our response and goals. Everything in our life have been governed by this self-image. Therefore, we require long time actually, in which we should allow the transformation to take place. And this process is called nididhyasanam. That is the transformation process. I keep in touch with Guru. I have completed the studying process, that is okay, because as Shravanam, within inverted commas, I can say I can complete. I have completed that. Mananam also is complete. I feel I have that knowledge. I am fine. I am Atma. I know. Therefore, I am a Jnani, I can say. But in order to become a Jnana Nishtha, that is, to assimilate this knowledge, one requires long time to transform. So, in this process, you have to keep in touch with your Guru, your Shastram. You keep on listening to Guru's teaching. Keep repeating this Shravanam Mananam process. Satsanga, you always have to have Satsanga with you. And I have to monitor my response to every situation and experience, making sure that my response is governed by the new knowledge that I have obtained and not by the old, miserable, misunderstood personality. This is the assimilation process. Assimilated knowledge alone nourishes my spiritual knowledge, spiritual happiness, which is similar to digested or assimilated food alone nourishes my physical body. Whatever be the quantity of food I take in, only the food which has been assimilated, which has been digested, that alone will help me to nourish my health. Similarly, how many number of scriptures one may have gone through, unless he understands, unless one assimilates the knowledge which will go inside his deep thought process, one cannot change. One cannot become a Jnana Nishtha. Therefore, the person with knowledge and who has gone through this nididhyasanam process also, finally he understands that my real nature, my higher nature, my essential nature is an embodiment. That is, I am an embodiment of permanent peace, security, happiness myself. That is Satchidananda Swarupam. That is, I am Atma. I am ever free. I was free. I am free. I will be free. I am always free. I am not dependent on any external object or any external person, because my very nature is Satchidananda Swarupa. So this is the bottom line, this is the crux of our Vedanta Shastra teaching. One has to come to this stage and one has to have this thought in his mind, in his deep self-conscious mind, subconscious mind, all the time. Whatever be the transaction I am doing, but in the innermost heart, in the subconscious mind, I should always have the knowledge that I am a Satchidananda Swarupa Atma. All these three yogas which we saw, Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga and Jnana Yoga, are compulsory and important for a human being, for a spiritual seeker in particular. They are not optional. The culmination of all our spiritual sadhanas is self-knowledge, moksha purushartha. This completes Jnana Yoga. Now we will take up Bhakti. This is also a very important topic found in the scriptures, a topic with various shades of meaning, often confusing also. So we should clearly understand what Bhakti is and also what Bhagavan is. So these two are very important. First we will take up Bhakti. The word Bhakti is used in the scriptures in two different meanings. The first meaning of Bhakti, as we generally know, it is devotion towards God. Devotion is nothing but love directed towards a higher sacred principle. That is devotion, which is basically a love. So there are three directions of love. One is means love, the other one is end love, and self-love. Gradations of love. The scriptures point out there is a gradation in the intensity of these three forms of love. Means love is least in its intensity, because once you achieve the goal or the end, the means are no longer useful to me. Therefore, you will drop all the means. You will lose interest and means will go away. Love of the end, objective, is medium love. The intensity is medium, and love of oneself is the highest form of love, because one does not love an objective or an end for the sake of end, only for his individual happiness, security or comfort only he wants to achieve the end. Therefore, only his interest, his love, the love based on oneself is utmost. That is the most intense love. So now we can come back to the devotion. We have to understand the grades of love, and then we have to understand the grades of devotion to God also. If a person loves God, what will be the intensity of the love? The scriptures point out the intensity of love depends upon how you look upon God, because most of the people view God as the means to achieve the end. That is, I have lot of worldly means, I want everything, therefore I am praying God. If I go to this temple, I will be able to accomplish this end. This is my approach. As long as you look upon God as a means to achieve your end, this love is manda bhakti, inferior. You remember, you correlate this with means love. Now this is why such people get angry with God if their wish or if their means do not get satisfied. They are not able to achieve the objectives of life. They get angry with God and they reject God also. Therefore, this is manda bhakti. The next set of people is rare. They don't look upon God as a means for various ends. They are mature enough. Their understanding of God is clearer. They are able to choose God as the goal of life. They know God represents security, peace and happiness. After all, this is what everyone wants in life. Therefore, they understand they love of God, and their love of God is as the end and end love. Therefore, it is more intense than the previous two. Therefore, this bhakti is madhyama bhakti. It is this intensity of this end love is much superior to means love, madhyama bhakti. Now the last form of bhakti, uttama bhakti, is what? That is, this person understands there is no essentially there is no difference between God and the self. This is what the Jnana Yoga also taught us. We saw essential nature is the same. Therefore, God love is equal to self love. Here self is the real self, not the empirical value of the empirical self. That is, body, mind, sense complex is not there. Only the real self, higher self. Since self love is the most intense love, this form of love is called uttama bhakti. For manda bhakta, God is dear. For madhyama bhakta, God is dearer. And for uttama bhakta, God is dearest. Krishna beautifully elaborates these stages in 7th and 12th chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, What is bhakti? Love of God in the form of manda, madhyama and uttama bhakti. This is the first meaning of the word bhakti. Now what is the second meaning of the word bhakti? Bhakti is the course of discipline to accomplish moksha purushartha. To convey the idea of bhakti as a course of discipline, we add yoga as a suffix to bhakti and say bhakti yoga. So bhakti as a course of discipline is bhakti yoga. The next question is, what is bhakti yoga? We discussed karma yoga, upasana yoga, jnana yoga. We did not mention bhakti yoga because bhakti yoga is not separate, is not different from these three yogas. There are only three yogas only. This bhakti yoga is a culmination, is a set of, it's a combination of all three karma, upasana and jnana yoga put together. This is bhakti yoga. Is not an exclusive or a separate course of discipline at all. Therefore, bhakti yoga is the name of the entire group of discipline consisting of all three yogas. So we can say, like karma yoga rupa bhakti yoga, we can say. Bhakti yoga in upasana yoga marga, we can say that. So otherwise all three put together is called karma yoga. Because in all these three forms of yoga, the bhakti is the essential element, essential basement on which all the three yogas are built. It is that is karma yoga. If you see, the definition of karma yoga is proper action with proper attitude. So whenever you do an action, you have to do with Ishwararpana bhavana. Ishvara is what? God. So unless you have bhakti, you cannot do any activity by Ishwararpana bhavana. And when you receive the result of your action, karma phalan, when you receive this, you should receive it as Ishvara prasada bhavana. Unless one has bhakti, he cannot have prasada buddhi. So therefore, bhakti is very essential for karma yoga. For upasana yoga, bhakti is very, very important. It must be soaked in bhakti, because we were telling about manasa puja, manasa parayana, manasa japa, etc. Manasa puja is what? Puja is on Ishvara. So it is manasa puja. It is still more difficult than doing by your body, physical body, which is you try, then only you understand. So you need to have your saguna, that is your Ishta Devata in your mind, and then you do all aradhana to Ishta Devata. You just sit down in one place, close your eyes and do all pujas in an elaborate manner. You can do upasana yoga. This is saguna rupa bhakti dhyanam. So this is called upasana yoga. So for upasana yoga, bhakti is very important. And for jnana yoga also, without bhakti one cannot come to jnana yoga. So jnana yoga, the study of scriptures started with some prayer, and always we conclude with some other prayer also. Not only that, in jnana yoga we are inquiring into our own real self, real nature, discovering the identity of our real nature with the nature of God. So there is no difference between essential sense of me and God. Therefore this teaches, this principle is taught by Jnana Yoga. Therefore Jnana Yoga also is soaked in bhakti. Therefore the first meaning of bhakti, love of God in the form of manda bhakti, madhyama bhakti and uttama bhakti. Second meaning as a course of discipline is karma yoga rupa bhakti, upasana yoga rupa bhakti and jnana yoga rupa bhakti, and finally to get mumukshutvam, that is moksha purushartham. Objective of definition, objective of devotion. Now all our bhakti is towards God. We pray God, Ishvara, Lord. We use many words. Unless I have an idea of what God is, whatever I do is not going to be complete. Therefore, the knowledge of God becomes very essential. We will briefly discuss, because we have already discussed in detail about the definition of God. Here there are three definitions for God depending upon the maturity and intellectual caliber of the speaker, of the spiritual seeker. Scriptures are very practical. It depends on your intellectual level. All three forms are fine. The first definition of God is creator of the universe. In Sanskrit, Jagat Karta, Ishvara. Ishvara is Jagat Karta, is Nimitta Karanam. Ishvara is Nimitta Karanam. Because whenever even if you see a simple and easily understandable reasoning, is that a well-designed product, purposeful product, must have an intelligent person behind this particular project to design and create. So even if it is true for an objective thing, material thing, it must be definitely true for the entire universe. So this entire universe, or the Jagat, or the whole world, is very, very purposeful. It is very well designed. It is well organized by Bhagavan. Therefore there must be a creator, a Karta for this universe, and we understand that it is naturally Bhagavan is a creator. No one else can have created this world. He has got the Shakti to create. Therefore, let it be he or she or both. Ishvara is the creator. In the first stage of my understanding of my Ishvara is creator of the universe. The moment I see creator, moment I say creator, I will visualize only a human being, because all along I have been transacting and I know only a fellow human being, and I know human beings are very intelligent. Therefore, I always associate my Ishtadevata, my God, my perception of God, to a human being. Therefore, I give him a Rupam, I give him a name, Rama, Krishna, Vishnu, Parameshwara, and all those. And I also give him a safe place, that is heaven. We say it is clouds, above the clouds. So whenever we ask where is God, first initial reaction will be to see up. So there is God. So that is the first level of understanding of God. I will call this God Eka Rupa Bhakti, Eka Rupa Ishvara, with a specific form and a name. This is for a beginner. The second definition of God, once you are grown up sufficiently and once you are capable of thinking further, then the scriptures present you with the next level of definition of Ishvara as cause of the whole universe, Jagat Karanam. Because for any creator, he needs a raw material only from which he can create the final product. For example, a goldsmith, he is a creator. He can create many ornaments, bangle, chain, etc. only if he has a lump of gold. If he doesn't have the raw material gold, he cannot create ornaments. So potter also, he cannot create pot, mud plate, etc. unless he has clay. Therefore, clay is the raw material and potter is the creator. So the Jagat, the universe, before it was born, before it was created, there was only God, Ishvara, nothing else, not even time, not even space. Because after creation of Jagat, along with Jagat, the time and space was created. Therefore, the supreme power, God, has created out of, there is no material except himself. Therefore, we say the scriptures present that Bhagavan is the Jagat Karanam, Upadhana Karanam. He is the raw material. So he is manifest in the form of universe. Therefore, material cause of universe is Bhagavan. Raw material also is Bhagavan and creator also is Bhagavan. It is very easy to understand this concept with an example. We all know that the spider creates a web from the material which comes out of its stomach. It is not going outside to get material to build its web. Unlike ant or any other animal, any other insect, it doesn't go out to fetch material for creating web. The particular juice is secreted within its stomach. Urna Nabhihi. That is why it is called Urna Nabhihi. So this is the spider example. So it creates and the material also, and the particular spider only builds its web, creates its web. So here the web is created out of the material which is coming only from the spider, and the spider only builds the web. So if the spider can do that, why God cannot have created the universe out of himself? Therefore the second definition of Bhagavan, of Ishvara, is Jagat Karanam, material cause. Now third definition, Jagat Adhishthanam. This is the highest and toughest and the final culmination form of Bhagavan. When we say God has become everything, people will get confused. That is raw material he has created out of himself, therefore he has become the world. Therefore there are some ugly things, diseases, virus, so many things. So people may ask, so God represents evil also? So the mental maturity should develop in order to go to the third level of Ishvara, definition of Ishvara. So he is not affected by any form in which Bhagavan appears. To put it another way, God is very substratum, adhishthanam. He, of all forms of Jagat, he transcends the entire creation. God is the creator, God is created out of himself, but he is transcending everything. He is not affected by any nama or rupa, any name or form. He is not affected by them because he transcends all those. Since the God transcends all the forms, he does not have a particular form, particular name also. Therefore, there is only God, Adhishthanam, and I, for my sake of convenience, at the initial level, I give him one form, one name. And then once my vision expands, I learn to look the entire Jagat as Bhagavan. And the next stage of my devotion is Bhagavan is the Jagat Adhishthanam. There is no specific form or name for Bhagavan. So he transcends all forms and names. So Arupa Bhakti, because he doesn't have any specific name and form. So Ekarupa Bhakti is the first stage. The second stage is Aneka Rupa or Vishwarupa Bhakti. And when I reach the final stage, my Bhakti is Arupa Bhakti. When I talk of three stages, remember the later one does not displace or replace the first two. This is very important. Arupa Bhakti has Ekarupa Bhakti and Aneka Rupa Bhakti inbuilt inside. Includes these two. They happily worship. Therefore, the person who has the intelligence, who has matured enough to understand God as Arupa Bhagavan, he happily worships God with any particular form. That is Rama or Krishna or Shiva or Devi. He is very easily able to do puja with all bhakti without any problem. But in his mind, in his subconscious mind, he understands that there is only God and he is Arupam. Just they happily appreciate the Lord as beautiful nature also. One does not replace the other. Just as Einsteinian physics does not displace or replace Newtonian physics. Both are valid in their own levels. This is the understanding of God that develops in the mind of a seeker as he studies the scriptures and as he progresses in scriptural life. So, summing up all the topics which we discussed on Bhakti and Bhagavan, we have 9 forms of Bhakti. The first 3 as God as devotion. Devotion as Bhakti, Manda Bhakti, Madhyama Bhakti and Uttama Bhakti. Wherein Bhakti is the love of God as Bhavana. Bhavana Drishtya Bhakti Trayam. The next 3 are Karma Yoga Rupa, Upasana Yoga Rupa and Jnana Yoga Rupa Bhakti, depending upon our understanding of God. The third one, Devata Drishtya Bhakti Trayam, because it is based on my understanding of Devate, my understanding of Bhagavan. The word bhakti is used in all these meanings, and therefore we should understand the context and grasp the correct meaning. Otherwise, people will get confused and they will get carried away by misunderstanding. Very important topic in the scriptures. With this, I conclude bhakti and I conclude the summary also. We have discussed about 8 different topics. Therefore, this is the last of the summary. From the next class, we will take up our Tattvabodha, the main scripture which we wanted to study in detail. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sarveshwara Sattu Mahimam.